Hello and welcome to the show. I am Joe Topat. Today would have been Charles Schulz's 100th birthday. To celebrate this occasion, I'm going to share with you 10 facts you might not have known about him. For this list, I tried to delve into more obscure facts about Charles Schulz. I didn't want to share any like he hated the title Peanuts because everybody knows that. Some of these are ones I've talked about in other videos, but for the most part, they are brand new to the channel. So, without further ado, let's begin. Number 10. The co-creator of Supergirl almost replaced him on Peanuts. I talked about this in another video, so if you want the full story, check that out. But for right now, I'm going to give you a gist of what happened. For years, Schultz enjoyed a great relationship with United Features, the syndicate that published Peanuts. They always involved him when it came to how the strip was merchandised, even though his contract didn't give him that kind of say. New people took over, and they didn't have a problem with going behind Schultz's back. So when it came time to renegotiate his contract, Schultz wanted control over the strip and the merchandise. Not willing to give him that kind of control, the president of United Features, William Payette, planned to fire Schultz and replace him with Supergirl co-creator Al Plastino. Needless to say, that didn't happen. Payette was eventually replaced, and Schultz received control over Peanuts. The strips Al Plastino made are available online for the whole world to see. Number 9. Schultz almost made a live-action Peanuts movie with John Hughes. The Peanuts characters are well known in animation. It's hard to imagine what they would look like in live action. Yet in the 90s, Schultz considered making a live-action Peanuts movie with John Hughes, who is well known for teen comedies like The Breakfast Club and the Christmas classic Home Alone. There really isn't a lot of information on this project, like what it would have been about, or who could possibly star in it. I was also unable to find a reason why this movie didn't get made. Some claim that it was because Dennis the Menace, a John Hughes movie about a popular comic strip character, didn't turn out well, but I can't really confirm that. I'm actually grateful this movie never got made. I can't imagine what Snoopy would have looked like in live action. Number 8. He resented Pigpen's popularity. Pigpen is one of the most popular characters in Peanuts. Yet Charles Schulz always resented the fact he became such a fan favorite. The reason for this is that Schultz saw Pigpen as a one-joke character. How many jokes could he make about a dirty kid? This is why the character was rarely used, and why Schultz never dropped him. Despite how Schultz felt about Pigpen, he understood why the character was popular. Everyone knows somebody dirty. Number 7. He had another comic strip about games. Everyone knows that Charles Schulz is the creator of Peanuts, but what most people don't know was that for a short time he had another strip, It's Only a Game. From 1958 to 1959, Schultz ran this strip that revolved around a bunch of characters playing a game like bridge. Unlike Peanuts, It's Only a Game had no main characters, though many of them look like older versions of the Peanuts characters. While Schultz worked on Peanuts by himself, for It's Only a Game, he had an assistant named Jim Sassville, who also worked on many of the Peanuts comic books that came out in the 50s and 60s. It's Only a Game failed to catch on, and has become a footnote in the life of Charles Schulz. Number 6. Disney rejected him. Today we remember Charles Schulz as the world-famous creator of Peanuts. Yet there was a time when he was a struggling cartoonist. Like so many people, Schulz admired Walt Disney, so he submitted samples of his work to Disney in the hopes that he could land a job. Unfortunately, he was rejected. It most likely sucked to get rejected at the time, but in the end, it was for the best, because if he had been accepted, we might not have gotten Peanuts. Number 5. Family history caused Schultz to have an aversion to alcohol. This one is definitely more serious in nature, and don't worry, there isn't another one like this on the list. Bill Melendez once told a story about how he once took Schultz to a bar and ordered him a weak drink. Schultz only took one sip of it and refused to touch it for the rest of the night. Why did he refuse to finish it? He had a deep fear of ending up like his relatives. You see, Schultz had uncles and cousins from his mother's side of the family who became alcoholics. Because of this, he only took a drink a few times in his life. Since we now know that alcoholism is hereditary, Schultz made the right decision to stay away from it. Number 4. He loved magic. I mentioned this in another video, but I'm going to expand on it here. It's well known that Schultz was a sports fan, but it isn't common knowledge that he loved magic. One of his closest friends was an amateur magician named Dr. Robert Albo, with whom he co-owned a magic shop. The two of them often exchanged magic tricks throughout the years, and Schultz even owned a few magic books Albo had written. Schultz was an honorary lifetime member of the Magic Castle and owned a collection of magic items. This love of magic inspired the creation of the special It's Magic Charlie Brown. There was even a traveling show called Snoopy's World of Magic. From August 2019 to January 2020, the Charles Schulz Museum featured an exhibit on Schultz's love of magic. There was even a video of Robert Albo performing one of Schultz's favorite tricks, producing a dollar bill from an unpeeled orange. Number 3. He hated being called Snoopy's father. Schultz loved his fans, but there were certain things fans would do that annoyed him. One of those things was calling him Snoopy's father. Typically, the fans who called him Snoopy's father are parents. They would point Schultz out to their young kids and ask, "Do you know who that is? That's Snoopy's father." The kids would often give Schultz a weird look upon hearing this. I can understand why parents would say this to their kids, but Schultz even had grown-ups refer to him as Snoopy's father. He once had a woman walk up to him while he was getting breakfast to ask if he's Snoopy's father. He gently explained to her that he's Snoopy's creator, not his father. In the Father's Day strip, Schultz drew Snoopy's father, who would later be named Baxter. I don't know if Schultz's intention on drawing the strip was to put to rest the idea that he's Snoopy's father, but I tend to think so. Number 2. He drew cartoons for a Christian magazine. It's a well-known fact that Schultz was pretty religious. Not only did he mention Christianity a lot in Peanuts, he drew a series of cartoons called Young Pillars for Youth magazine. The series lasted from 1956 to 1965 and featured teens in religious-themed gags. The main character was a teen named Harold. The growing popularity of Peanuts left Schultz little time to work on it, so he ended Young Pillars, though he would create 5 more cartoons for a magazine called Reach in 1969. When Young Pillars was collected in books in the 1960s, it was marketed as the Peanuts characters in their teens. The truth is, they aren't the Peanuts characters. They're completely different. Number 1. He had an unused comic strip featuring adults. Peanuts was a huge part of Schultz's life, but he worked on stuff before and after he created Peanuts. His non-Peanuts work would include his first published cartoon in Ripley's Believe It or Not about his dog Spike, Little Folks, that served as a precursor to Peanuts, 17 cartoons for the Saturday Evening Post, It's Only a Game, and Young Pillars, just to name a few. One idea he had that never got published was a comic strip called Hegmaier. Unlike Peanuts, Hegmaier is the name of the title character. The name was taken from an old army buddy of Schultz. The strip was created in the mid-50s, and it featured blue-collar workers getting used to the idea of a woman boss named Miss Hamhock in the stockroom. There were 7 strips in total that Schultz drew for Hegmaier, each one drawn on prefabbed Peanuts paper. There's not a whole lot of information on Hegmaier and why it never got picked up. The 7 strips had been lost for decades and have only been rediscovered in recent years. Jeannie Schultz, widow of Charles Schulz, admitted that the strips are a puzzle to her. One interesting note, Hegmaier would later become the married name of Miss Offmore, Linus's favorite teacher. As for the Hegmaier strips, they are on display at the Charles Schulz Museum. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think. And don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later.